Anyone who does not have the same opinion as you is a bigoted.
Trans women should not be able to compete in women's sports has transphobic beliefs. Point blank, period. Trans women are women. Therefore, they compete in women's sports. Like, that's really just like the end of conversation. Like, there's really no like, oh, but like, you know, like the boys and then the girls and the testosterone. No, like it's all based in transphobia. Because you're a gender studies major, right? Or
not a major, no.
Not a major.
I'm one of the world's foremost experts in
gender studies.
Not leading. I'm in the top 10.
You're about to see a shocking interaction, but you have to make it to the end to really appreciate it. The people on the left think that trans women should compete in women's sports, and anyone who disagrees is a transphobe. The people on the right disagree. Now, the rhetoric gets pretty nasty, but what the trans activists didn't expect is that they were talking to a gender studies expert who knows this game well. It all becomes clear in the final moments, so that's why I say you need to make it to the end. But we need to see some of the setup first, so let's jump in.
In response to that, if a girl went to a middle or high school where they didn't have a big sports fund and she played on the male lacrosse team and then transferred to a school that had a girls and boys lacrosse team and then she chose to play on the girls team after playing on the boys team, no one would care. No one would care because she's cis. They only care because she's trans. No one really cares about you playing the man version of a sport if you're a girl and then you play the woman version later. They only care when you're trans.
The point of a competitive sport is to be genetically better than the other person. Take the Olympics, for example. There are cis women that are better than other cis women because they are genetically made to be that way. Sports, that is the entire purpose of competitive sports. And you just trying to justify your transphobia with the fact of being genetically better. What is it?
Of course.
I do want to say my opinion does not mean I'm transphobic at all.
What does that word even mean? What does that word even mean? What does that word mean?
What do you mean, what does that word mean?
Well, if she says to you, if I say to you, what is this? And she says a blah, 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 and I say, what do you mean? They give me the definition. So, like, what is the definition of transphobia?
Transphobia is when you exclude trans people. Transphobia is when you do not believe that trans people are really the identity they identify with. Transphobia is hatred towards trans people. Transphobia is prejudice against trans people. That's what transphobia is. And thinking that trans athletes should not compete with regular athletes in their own separate league is transphobic.
Okay, so do you need all three of those criteria to be met?
No, you don't. No,
you need one.
Yes.
So if I believe, I just want to make sure, because you used a term and it's very important that we're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. So if I believe that a person who was born a man who has not had bottom surgery, who got arrested, should go into a woman's prison, who should not go into a woman's prison, am I a transphobe?
That is a completely different question, and I don't even know your reason.
But it's excluding, though.
But I don't even know your reason for that.
Well, it's So I'm trying to figure out what the word transphobe means.
By asking me a completely hypothetical question when I
by asking
you,
well, you gave me a definition, but it meets the first one, so that would seem under your definition as transphobic. You have a definition. Okay, hold on.
Google definition. Hold on. This pisses me off. We're not using a Google definition. Hold on. We're not using a Google definition to describe transphobia, because this is exactly like when you say white people can't be racist, and they pull the definition of racism, and they're like, oh no, but here it says racism is blah 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 blah. Google definition can literally not define something that you literally have spent years studying. Because you're a gender studies major, right? Or
not a major, no.
Not a major.
I'm one of the world's foremost experts in
gender studies.
Not leading. I'm in the top 10.
Okay, not leading then. You're not a leading world gender studies, just a gender studies. But that proves that you've literally studied this. Like, this is a field that can be studied.
Not only have I studied it, I've outpublished virtually everybody in my field in a 10-month period.
Yeah,
true, that's true. That's a fact. That's in fact.
We're almost to that shocking moment where everything goes off the rails. But first, you need to hear from the ladies on the right about why they spoke up. And notice the difference in their reaction and the reaction of the trans activists.
My point for coming over here and participating in this is because I'm very open-minded and I like hearing other people's points of views, and I'm not very I don't just shut people down when they have an opinion and start calling them names.
Right, and that's important because it comes up in that big clip we're getting to.
A transphobe, because I got her definition. What's yours?
Transphobe is what I said. So transphobe is someone that is adding to a system to put other trans individuals down, whether it be conscious or unconscious. There's some sort of bias that you definitely do need to work through and actually listen to something we're saying. It doesn't matter if we're getting heightened in emotion because we're passionate about something. That should make you want to listen more, and it shouldn't make you want to smirk and act like, oh my goodness, you contradicted yourself, la 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 la.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So you strongly agree. You're cheating, you're off the line, but that's okay. You're strongly agree and you're strongly agree. What would it take you to move to the agree line? Let me go for, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 because I haven't, yeah.
You asked me this already, and I told you nothing.
Okay. What would it take you to move to the agree line?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Would you say absolutely nothing or
Yeah,
nothing?
absolutely nothing.
I just said what I had to say.
Okay.
I would be willing to revise my opinion with, new information that comes out, new studies, new statistics, saying if there is actually a true advantage that trans women have over cis women in sports. But as of right now, there's nothing that is prominent, like as in what we know, that would change my position right now.
So the trans activists aren't open-minded, but the people on the right are. Now we're about to see the moment I've been talking about. But first, I just want to say, remember that if there is a God, then he likely has an intent and a purpose for the human race and for your life. So to say, I understand what his intent is, but I'm going to do the opposite. But you don't have to be a Christian or believe in God to understand the major problems with this. For example,
One of the world's foremost experts in
is Peter Boghossian. He's not a believer, but he seems to see problems.
I don't agree with attacking people personally, whether it's that he's old or that I'm sitting here smiling. I don't think that anything to do with this conversation has to do with how you treat other people. And if you're going to sit here and say you accept all people, then you need to sit here and accept all people.
I did not say I accept all people. I don't accept bigots. I don't accept racists.
old people.
Yeah, old people like you because you're an. I accept older people who are open-minded, like my parents, for say, who are actually older than you, and I accept people who are willing to actually open their minds up.
I'm confused. I just said I'm very open-minded. Okay.
So you accept you're accepting of people who are willing to open their minds, but yet you are not willing to open your mind for evidence that would take you to go to the agree line.
I'm not willing to open my mind to be a bigoted piece of shit. No.
Anyone who does not have the same opinion as you is a bigoted.
Trans women should not be able to compete in women's sports has transphobic beliefs. Point blank, period. Trans women are women. Therefore, they compete in women's sports. Like, that's really just, like, the end of conversation. Like, there's really no, like, oh, but, like, like, the boys and then the girls and the testosterone. No, like, it's all based in transphobia.
This is still an issue in our nation and our culture, and you can no longer and you shouldn't be able to any longer just shut it down by shouting transphobe like some magic word that stops conversation. People have grown tired of that, and we want the truth.